What was the most shocking habit you discovered when you moved in with a partner? A dozen butt plugs of various shapes and sizes. I decided to organize my husband's office as a surprise. He always talked about how disorganized it was and he couldn't find anything. I opened up a bag labeled Dove Hunting and found the entire bag filled with butt plugs. No, this was not something we had ever used together or talked about using. When I confronted him, he said he won them in a random drawing from a website he had bought a vibrator from SMH. Why would you hide that in a bag of hunting supplies and not tell your wife you won something? WTF. First year living with my wife, we go on vacation one summer week. We just purchased our house, and I wanted to save money on AC. I turned the AC completely off. When we got home, the house smelled like a tuna boat. I was running around the house gagging trying to find a smell. The smell was her maxi pads and tampons overfilling the trash. Had to air out the house for 2 days and stay at a hotel. Turned out she would do this before when she lived with her sister. Another one. She would poop with the door open and thought it was funny. I did not. They didn't know how to turn on a stove, microwave, washing machine, or dryer. Then the one time they made dinner, I was so surprised and impressed that I didn't say anything when I found the takeout containers in the garbage. I feel stupid for not calling them out on it now, but thankfully, it's not my circus or my monkey anymore. The habit was pathological lying and weaponized incompetence, which I only learned those terms after. I really thought they were the only ones to do that too. That he actually cleans and doesn't expect me to do it all just because I'm the girl. A welcome and lovely contrast to my last relationship, who would literally have his mum do household chores if I didn't do them promptly enough for him. Things needed to be cleaned and put away, and instead of just, doing them, he'd call mummy, and yes, his mum was a contributing factor to why I left him, since they wanted to be together. My partner would wipe his boogers on the outside of his car, and then my car. I noticed one day there was crusty, greenish yellow shit in the outside of my passenger door. Then one day, I saw him pick his nose and wipe it on the outside of my car door while we were driving together. His excuse, the elements will clean it off. They did not, in fact, clean off the concrete like boogers off of my car. It's been 10 years and I think he's finally stopped. My ex had big fingers that wouldn't fit in his nose, which he was always picking. He would use tweezers and he'd scratch the inside of his nose, causing it to bleed. He would leave his boogers everywhere in the bathroom, the sink, the shower. Wipe them onto the rim of the trash can. When I broke up with him and he moved out, I was finding bloody boogers all over my apartment for months afterwards. It was so damn disgusting. My husband, as it turns out, is a sociopath. We moved in together and one day, upon opening the freezer, I found a bowl of heavily seasoned popcorn. I thought maybe he had an off moment and put it there by accident. Nay, this sick fuck pops popcorn, coats is in copious amounts of butter, lime juice, garlic salt, and palm, and purposefully freezes it so that the butter can reharden before he eats it. WTF. He automated his workday morning routine. No deviations even when there's an obvious issue. Will respond to verbal stimulus. No communication should be considered accurate because he's still asleep for about a half hour. So yeah, if we wake up at the same time, I'm ready to talk and plan and joke, and he is doing the routine. If I impede him, he will mess up his routine and possibly forget to change into pants. Not me, but my boyfriend at the time. I knew he was messy, but put it down to the fact he was living on his own. When I moved in with him, we started by deep cleaning his place. He was then absolutely shocked when he realized I expected him to clean and tidy regularly. Don't know what he was thinking. That we would just do it once when I moved in, and then every 6 months. Thank God he's somehow improved. I never had any surprises of any sort when moving in together. Maybe because the person never hid anything from me when we met. On the other hand, one of my friends was quite surprised that her boyfriend didn't change after they got married. I told her that a ring on his finger wouldn't give her a new guy, but she wouldn't believe me. He still leaves breadcrumbs on the kitchen counter to this day. To get out of this loop of trying to be my own individual, but in constant battle because I'm not doing things like his mom would, but he truly doesn't care what I say or truly can't see when I tell him. I'm so conflicted. He makes me feel bad for not wanting this anymore, but I can't keep losing myself. I definitely don't know what to do. She let her dog use the carpet as a toilet. Like she wouldn't take this dog out at all. The carpet in the living room is the only place the dog would go. The floor was spongy and wet. You could expect to find poop all over. She was totally desensitized to it. She wasn't willing to start taking the dog out, so the relationship ended very quickly after this. He and his roommates never took out the trash, like ever. Huge pile of full trash bags in the kitchen, almost reaching the ceiling, with trash in all the cabinets too. Every great once in a while, they would rent a U-Haul to take it to the dump. So confusing to me. But I didn't know how to help them break the cycle. Nice guys, but sheesh. My girl loves peanut butter so much. She has a tub of it next to the bed, and on the coffee table, and in her office. None of these tubs have lids. They are always open with a spoon in it. I'm concerned that the peanut butter might spoil, go bad. But she says she eats a whole container every 2 weeks. I still love her like crazy though. Masturbate while I was sleeping right next to him. Like, going to the fucking bathroom or something. Had to pretend to be asleep. It was disturbing. I never said anything to him and ended it after it happened too many times. Like, is this normal? To masturbate while someone's sleeping next to you? Anyway, it clearly didn't last. My ex would pick his nose, finger all the way into the knuckle, and then dredge it out, examine it, and flick it into the air. So not only would I have an untamed boog somewhere in my house, I had to hunt for it each time to clean up after him. There were days I couldn't find it and had to just walk around knowing it's there somewhere. Picked his nose and ate it in front of me. I asked him to please stop that. He said it's healthy. And his mum does it too, and she's a doctor. He turned out to be a sociopath and lying, manipulating scumbag for other reasons. But the booger thing was bad. And the fact that he acted offended when I asked him to stop was, when she wakes up in the middle of the night, she has a sugar craving, and way that she satisfies this craving is by either shooting whipped cream straight into her mouth, or by coating a fudge round with whipped cream so much that you can't actually see the original treat. I will comment this on behalf of all my exes and also my current partner. I have the worst habit of never closing the lid on things. And then of course one day things spill out, break, etc. Worst ones are jars when you hold them by the lid and then realize it's unscrewed and the glass shatters on the ground. Didn't move in, but my first long-term high school boyfriend used chewing tobacco and used any empty bottle as a spittoon. First time he invited me in his room, I sat on his bed and heard a crunch. Between his wall and bed and all over the floor under his bed were a few bottles of dip and saliva. Re-wearing clothes, like, for 4 days in a row. Takes them off at the end of the day, throws them on the floor, and picks them up and puts them back on the next morning. I try to grab the clothes off the floor and throw them in the wash before he can re-wear them. I then claim ignorance. Would never close the cabinet doors she opened, reseal food packaging like press to seal closures or twist ties, turn off lights after leaving rooms for extended periods, or cap the toothpaste tube. She would also lose her keys every 20 seconds. In her defense, she was hot. She clips her toenails and just lets them fly wherever and land on the floor. It's disgusting and really weird considering she's an absolute freak about cleanliness in literally every other aspect of life. Her excuse is that Robbie, our robot Vogue, will eat them. I hated. I didn't move in with her. I just stayed there a lot and cleaned up his mess a lot of times. But he had pee bottles under the bed, and I don't know why I didn't leave the moment I discovered it either. Ladies, please make pee bottles under the bed a deal breaker. Not a deal breaker, or he's very clean. I'm lucky. He hates using the dishwasher. It's like he doesn't trust it or something. He does all the dishes by hand. Even when we're tired. When I use our dishwasher, he's skeptical. I love him dearly, but it's so bizarre. My husband still doesn't always put his laundry in the basket. He puts it right next to it. We have been together 9 years, so at this point is now something I poke fun at. He at least helps with the laundry all the time without me asking, so I'm willing to let it go. This unlocked a repressed memory, geez. My ex apparently didn't wipe his ass very well, and his shit-smeared butthole would get itchy in the night while he slept. That's what he told me at least, when I asked about the random polka dot stains on his top sheet. Not a partner, but my old roommate didn't believe in food bacteria. Like he would cook something, and then leave it on the stovetop overnight and continue to eat it the next day. He did this frequently, and I'm not sure how he never ended up with food poisoning. My husband poops with both seats up like he sits on the rim of the toilet. When I first saw that I was like, WTF. He told me with the seat down the opening is too small. And he also cleans the rim before sitting and only does it at home. But still, WTF.